What is going on, everybody out there? This is Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel. So I'm going to talk about some news that's actually been lingering around for a little bit more than a week, so it's kind of old at this point, but I feel like it's still relevant, and it touches on some subjects and some important info and topics that I think could offer a lot of food for thought, especially if you're within the YouTube community or you care about the YouTube community and the website, making content about video games, or just the gaming industry in general. I feel like there's a lot of lessons that could come out of this. We're going to talk about the whole case between RaqibMarvelous, Koban Ermani, 456, as well as also Etika from the Etika World Network, John Paramango, and a few other people that have been involved, or at least related to a lot of this debacle and a lot of this controversy here and there. Now, since that stuff actually happened about a week and change ago, things have changed up for either better or worse, and there's been a lot of developments with it, but I'm going to kind of give an overview to touch on a few key issues that are related to a lot of the stuff that went down with RaqibMarvelous. I don't care about a lot of the stuff that happened. Again, there's a lot of things involving like a house, involving mortgages and money and things like that. That's not really what I care about too much, and I'll kind of give a little bit of overview of that, or at least give a little bit of info, but I want to get to the meat and potatoes of the issue that I want to touch on, which is related to gaming and just being part of the games industry, or at least being a professional, not only a content creator, but also just a games media person in general. So what exactly went down, and why exactly am I telling you guys about this, and why should you care if it's old news? So to kind of like summarize it, at least, you know, in the most kind of concrete way that I can without getting into too much detail, Koban Ermani 456, so Kobe, who's actually been on YouTube for quite a while, he has an amassed a huge audience. Again, check out his channel if you guys haven't already. There'll be links in the description box below. But he actually called out RaqibMarvelous during EVO 2017 not too long ago. And the reason why he called them out is because for a while now, according to him and according to a lot of other people that were in some videos that he was actually kind of exposing the guy with, he actually is owed a lot of money. And he actually had some type of like issue involving some games that were, you know, trying to be sold to him, as well as a whole bunch of other issues, again, that I don't really want to get too much into. Again, there'll be a link in the description box below to the first video and the second video where he kind of breaks everything down. The first video being when he was at EVO 2017 with Etika, as well as also John Paramango, and they were just exposing everything right there in front of everybody. I think it was live at the time. And then he came back later on, I want to say a couple days later, on his own channel where he touched upon everything a little bit more in detail and a little bit more calmly, and again, really emoted what was happening and stuff. But what exactly is really so important about this, and how does it relate to gaming? So one of the things that the guys brought up in their video was that RaqibMarvelous actually had been going around and at least trying to, if not already had done so a couple times, trying to take games that he had gotten as promotional material, or at least, you know, review copies and early copies of games, you know, from like Nintendo, being a Nintendo brand ambassador, as well as a couple other companies, and trying to sell them off to different individuals. I remember one of the things that they mentioned in the video was, I believe it was Super Mario Maker, where they tried to sell the game over to somebody for like $1,500, or at least, again, round number. They really get into detail in the video. Again, links in the description box below, so if you want the exact number and the exact kind of details there, you'll get it from there. But the reason why I find this to be important is because not only is it technically illegal and technically something that's like not good, where you kind of violate the contract of which you have, or at least the agreement that you have with Nintendo and Golin, being a Nintendo brand ambassador or somebody that works together, you know, with these publishers, you know, as someone that's like an influencer or a games media person. That's a really bad thing to do. In essence, it's essentially abusing the access that one gains from working within the games industry, or at least being part of the gaming community in that professional setting. You can't go and get an actual game from a publisher and then try to sell it off on eBay, or at least try to find the highest bidder for like thousands of dollars for an early copy of a game that's coming out, what, like a couple weeks later, something of that sort. They get into specific time frames in their original videos, so again, it's a little bit more unique to them, but the point is that that's a really bad thing to do. It's a really messed up thing to do. And how do we know this, and how do we actually know that this is actually real and confirmed? Well, just so happens to be that they actually showed DM conversations from Twitter between RaqibMarvelous and some of the guys there. I believe it was not only Etika, but also John Paramango, where they actually showed on their phones onto the camera when they were live streaming, showing the actual messages that were stating like, oh, we could get so much money for this particular game on AdFly. Now, if you guys don't know what AdFly is, it's basically just a place where you can kind of like post up like, not really bounties, but like, you know, different offers for different products and stuff. Again, it gets a little bit more nuanced than that, but that's the big generalization of it. It's very similar to going to like, you know, eBay or anything similar of the sort, or any type of website that's very similar in nature. But overall, this is a very bad thing to do, especially as someone that's, again, has a lot of influence, has a lot of notoriety, and has a lot of connections within the games industry. And not just the games industry, but also the YouTube community as a whole. When you're kind of working together with a lot of influencers and there's a lot of different subscriber counts and a lot of brand deals and promotions that are involved, this could be a very dangerous line to walk through, or at least to walk on, I should say, or walk between. I don't know the actual saying there, but the point is, it's a very bad thing to do, because not only are you violating the trust of the people that you're working with, not just the YouTube influencers, but the companies themselves and the publishers that are kind of putting a lot of stock and investment into you, but you're also kind of violating the trust of your audience, in my opinion. Why is that the case? Even though it has really nothing to do specifically with the audience themselves, it just shows a level of dishonesty that I think is not cool. And again, this kind of goes back to my video I did not too long ago with Jake Paul and Logan Paul, or at least covering the news and the issues that's been going on with them not too long ago, or at least recently, that's been making headlines. It really is another prime example of people really taking advantage of their fame and notoriety, or at least their influence amongst people, and really kind of pushing the envelope or pushing the boundaries of like what you could do whenever you gain some sort of like influence or some sort of popularity or some sort of connections within the industry that you're a part of, in the worst way possible. This is by in no means any sort of like good comes out of this, other than, again, the specific individual, in this case RaqibMarvelous, by making money on the side for the different types of games he's able to get early. Now, after these videos came out, or at least after the first video came out, I should say, Raqib actually made a response video on YouTube where he kind of, talked a little bit about some of the stuff, specifically about the Super Mario Maker ordeal. And he never really addressed a lot of the other issues that they had mentioned in the video that were more related to their living situation, to their mortgage stuff, to all the type of money things that were kind of being brought up by both Etika, Kobe, and John Paramango in that video. And even though he put that response out there, not too long afterwards, he deleted it. And besides deleting that, he deleted all his videos on his YouTube channel. He deleted all his social media posts. He locked up, if not also deleted, his Twitter account, his Instagram account, his Facebook. He really went through the entire board of social media and just wiped everything clean. Now, whether you agree or disagree with whatever actions or whatever side of the fence you stand on, if you've been following the news ever since it first came out, that does look a little bit suspicious. And things like that, usually when people do something like that, is either when they want to try to hide something, or when they know that they've done something wrong, or they're trying to damage control everything. This is not me trying to take sides or anything like that. I think the evidence and whatever's been put out there in the spotlight is pretty clear, and you can make your own judgments from there. But in my personal opinion, and I'm pretty sure in the personal opinion from a lot of you guys listening to this, when you go out and delete all your social media and you're really kind of just trying to, get away from everything, whether it's because of the abuse or because of the terrible kind of like bullying or feedback that you're getting and stuff, usually there is a reason for it. And it's not just because you're getting a lot of bad comments thrown your way. It's usually because you want to hide something, or because you want to actually make sure you're in good standing. Now, at least from me on the outside looking in, or at least observing all the stuff that was going down, one of the biggest reasons, going back to my original kind of like reasoning for bringing this up, is because since it's a bad thing to do that as a brand ambassador for Nintendo or any other type of company and publisher out there, especially in the gaming industry, that could lead to some ramifications or some pretty big consequences. Because technically, I believe it's illegal to actually sell an early copy of a game, especially if you're not a licensed seller, or at least not a licensed vendor, and two, if you're breaking a contract with the company that you're working together with, or at least, you're getting that access with. There's a lot of ramifications that could come with that, and it's not just losing your ability to become a Nintendo brand ambassador. There could also be other ramifications afterwards. You could be blacklisted, not be able to work with that particular company, if not any other company that's associated with them ever again. There's a lot of things that could come from that. And as someone, me personally, being part of the games industry, I know that that's a really terrible thing for someone that's so dependent, or at least being an entity that's so dependent on access and being so dependent on working, having good working relationships with a lot of these companies. Once you lose that, you're kind of assed out. You're kind of like thrown out into the rain, and there's nothing you can really do about that. If not, it's nearly impossible to get that type of access and to get that type of trust back. So it's pretty damning. So again, seeing all this stuff go down, deleting the social media and such, I could totally see like that being the reason why someone would do that. Now, in the wake of everything that's happened, what's come out of all this and what's really gone down? Well, we really won't know, and I don't think we're ever going to know anything that's what's happened business-wise with Raqib. I know I've seen a lot of postings on Twitter related to other content creators that either knew Raqib or were associated with him or did other business dealings with him at some point that have either said that they're no longer associated with him or that, again, they've decided to move away or at least have been outspoken about what's been going down ever since the news came out. And a lot of people seem to sympathize with Kobe, and I don't blame them. I mean, when you're in that position, and at least according to him, dealing with a lot of the stuff that he was dealing with, outside of personal issues, but really the business-wise stuff, money, YouTube, and everything else, that really does a number on you emotionally. That could really kind of put a dent, not only in a friendship, but really kind of like sever bridges entirely. And it really sucks because, again, everybody's, involved with YouTube together. Everybody's kind of like doing their own thing, and everybody has some sort of element of kind of like, dependency on each other when it comes to lifting everybody up, lifting up your personal brands and really trying to do amazing stuff and create amazing content, within the games industry, or at least within the gaming content, that you see on YouTube. So it sucks to see things like that. Hopefully, a lot of things kind of like, get to their resolution. It seems like that's to be the case, where, again, people have moved on. People have kind of like, gotten away from a lot of the kind of like bad stuff that was happening. I know there was a house at one point that was like the center of this entire issue where people have kind of moved out from, or at least have been calling out a lot of other stuff that happened within that house. There's been a lot of crazy stuff happening all over the place. But getting back to what I originally wanted to point at, do not, under any circumstances, if you're part of the gaming industry, if you're kind of, getting access to these companies, if you're a content creator out there and you have a huge subscriber count, for the love of God, don't violate and don't break the trust that you gain from these companies, and at least the trust that you gain from the people around you that work within the same industry. It's a terrible thing to do. It's a dick move to do, and it's also just not very cool. So either way, guys, I just wanted to throw that out there. I know it's a little bit older than usual on some of the stuff that I usually comment on. Again, this is probably going to be the first video that I do for today. I'll probably be tackling some other related news that's a little bit more current. Let me know in the comments section what's up, if you guys have any sort of opinions about this news. Again, if you knew Raqib, or if you worked with him in the past, or you have any sort of emotions and feelings about the whole issue as a whole, put it in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to my channel for all my videos that I've been posting up daily. Again, I've been trying to post up a lot of videos daily for you guys, covering all different types of news and something to really kind of give you guys some food for thought and really enjoy out of everything that I post up here on the channel. I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I will see you guys again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.